Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joel Norwood with today's Ag News as we round out the work week. Of course, work never ends on the farm. And don't forget to join the Ohio Soybean Association Hometown Tour. Coming up July 30th, it'll be at Cargill in Sydney. Enjoy breakfast along with a dynamic program designed to enhance your operation. Register for the free event at soyohio.org/hometown. Again, that's soyohio.org/hometown. We'll see you there. And don't forget the Ohio State Fair going on this weekend and next. Great time to not only go get some fair food, but see some of the best genetics in the country and livestock shows and more. Ohio AgNet proud to be the media sponsor for the commercial cattle show coming up here on Saturday. The American economy, according to reports released last week, up 2.8% as far as economic growth goes in the second quarter. Many out in the real world, though, saying, hey, economic growth is great and all, but what about prices on store shelves? Well, there's some good news there. USDA's latest food price forecast should be good news for shoppers. Gary Crawford checks in.
Analysts at the Agriculture Department are projecting that food at the grocery store this year will likely cost us more than last year, but only about 1% more.
And that's compared to a 5% increase in prices that we saw for groceries in 2023.
USDA economist Megan Schweitzer told us even though we are only a bit more than halfway through this year,
I don't expect too much change in the forecast through the remainder of the year. We've sort of narrowed in on this right around 1% predicted change in prices. It's been the same for the past 2 months.
And while overall grocery prices are expected to rise, some food categories will cost less than last year. Fresh fruit almost 1% less.
And then a few other categories where we're predicting price declines in 2024. Fish and seafood by 0.8%. Eggs by 0.3%.
Milk and dairy by almost 0.5%. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
And thanks, Gary. Could be some tough times ahead for certain ag workers as they find themselves without a job. Ag machinery giant John Deere has reduced its workforce by, some say, more than 2,000 employees in the past several months. And they have confirmed more layoffs as they say they're being faced with lower customer demand for equipment, declining sales, and a difficult ag economy, as a result, cutting their global salaried workforce. Now, they have not officially released details on the number of salaried employees affected, but this most recent round of cuts follow hundreds of previously announced layoffs of Deere's production workers in recent months. They did note in a recent release that a 20% decline in sales from 2023 to 2024 is no doubt impacting it. Employees could get up to 12 months of severance pay based on years of service that are affected. And a bit of positive news across the country, the spring wheat tour results are in with a yield estimate that's above last year's 53.8 bushel per acre average. Last year's Wheat Quality Council spring wheat tour found an average of 47.1 bushels per acre. North Dakota poised for a bumper wheat crop this year. Now, do keep in mind that here in Ohio, we mainly grow soft red winter wheat, so different markets, but of course from a macro perspective, all having an impact on global supplies. We'll talk about markets and how they wrapped up this week coming up next on the Ohio AgNet. Stay tuned.
It's always around.
More rain today.
It never takes a break.
Markets are lower.
And it's taking a toll on our communities.
Can I keep the farm going?
It's been talked about in whispers, but it's time to turn up the volume when it comes to farm stress and mental health. You can do that right now, wherever you are, by taking the Farm Stress Survey. Your answers will help to protect Ohio agriculture's mental wellness. Take the confidential Farm Stress Survey at go.osu.edu/farm stress survey. That's go.osu.edu/farm stress survey. Thank you.
Friday, July 26th is Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. Visit the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Department of Insurance, and other state agency booths. Come learn about mental health resources available to you and to your family. Join us on Friday, July 26th for Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. We'll see you there.
Time for a look at closing market numbers after today's trade in Chicago. And as the season continues, the growing season, and crops out in the field looking pretty all right across the country, even though there are some drought conditions from here and there. That means markets being pressured. So where is the bottom? Who knows? But September corn in Chicago, $3.94.5 per bushel. That's a drop of 11.5 cents here on Friday. December new crop corn, $4.10 per bushel. That's a 10.75 cent fall. March 2025, $4.25.5 for those contracts, off 10.75 as well. August soybeans, $10.77.5, down 38.5 cents. New crop soybeans at $10.48.5, down 31 pennies. And January 25 contracts down 29.75 cents today to $10.64. Probably don't want to lock that price in. September wheat, $5.23.5, a 14.25 drop. Markets thanks to Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. At the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, August live cattle, 33 pennies down to a price of $188.58. As feeder cattle are up for September, $1.70, $259.60 is their price, and feeder cattle probably going to continue upwards as supply looks to be questionable in coming months. August lean hogs down 30 cents to 93.48, and milk across the board up by about 20 pennies. That's a look at farm news here on the Ohio Ag Net. I'm Joel Penorwood. Thanks for tuning in.